Well, welcome back to Quirky Faith. I'm going to fangirl here for just a minute because I am super excited to be where we are. This is the headquarters. It's like the inner secrets of the Bible Project. If you've been watching Quirky Faith at all, you see on the That's the Book posts at the very bottom of resources, every single one of them has a link to the Read Scripture, which are created by the Bible Project. And we're here today. So this is Tim Mackie. I'm going to be interviewing him today. He's going to tell us all we want to know. I just got to encourage you guys. This is going to be an interview to watch and to see how the church in action is changing people's lives. So, with that, Tim, can you tell us just a little bit about what the Bible Project is, your mission? How did you get here? How did this happen? It's amazing.
Yeah. Most simple form, we're an animation studio. We're a nonprofit animation studio. There's not that many of those.
No, maybe only one.
in the world. And we're crowd-funded, meaning we're an educational YouTube channel. It's kind of where we fit on the world of online media. But we have a website too, and we create free educational resources about the Bible and how to read the Bible and biblical theology, and we put them all out there for free. And we have been doing this about 4 years, and then at the end of the videos we just ask people who watch the video if they found it helpful to help pitch in a few bucks and help us make the next one. So we started doing that. We launched the YouTube channel almost 4 years ago, and we're 4 years in and have thousands of supporters around the world, and we're able to crank out a video now every 2 to 3 weeks. We have a full animation studio that's sustained by our monthly supporters. So it's incredible, totally incredible.
So some numbers, right? 670,000 subscribers on YouTube in 4 years. That's not shabby.
Yeah.
And how many views last year?
I think it was 28 million.
28 million views in a year on a 4-year. And I understand things grow fast on YouTube, but that's some consistency.
Totally. It's kind of surprised. I mean, I think we hoped it succeeded. It was.
Don't we all hope?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it was myself and another good friend of mine from all the way back from college. And I'm a Bible nerd and a professor, and I've served as a pastor. So that's me. I'm low tech personally. But my partner John, he had started a business that was an animation studio making short explainer videos for clients, mostly in the tech world. And so he had a studio and a team rolling, and he pitched this idea to me to start taking the way too many years I spent in school and translating everything I love about Bible, history, language, culture, theology into short videos. And so I said yes. I didn't know what I was signing up for.
These things grow, they take over your life.
So it was kind of cool because he already had a momentum and years into the craft of making these short videos. It was just turning it to a nonprofit, crowd-funded model to make the videos. And our main mission is just to help people gain a new paradigm for engaging the Bible, namely that this big, complex, ancient book is actually one unified whole story with one main goal that it's leading towards Jesus. The conviction driving it was our own frustrating experiences with the Bible from growing up and so on, and whether people encounter the Bible from their church experience. People have so many different divergent conceptions of the Bible.
Hotel room.
Yeah, the hotel room, the devotional grab bag, or the verse of the day, or many people engage with the Bible like a reference book, like a theology reference book, so I can know that I'm right about this or that topic, about theology or something. And so, but if you look at the form and how the Bible presents itself to us, it's an epic narrative. Big, sprawling, with lots of subplots and layers, but it's an epic narrative that is all moving towards and centers around the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. And so when you engage the Bible as it's designed to be engaged, it does stuff to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that in classrooms and churches where I've served as a pastor, when you just invite people into the world and story of the Bible, it does its own work on people.
Living and active. That's the church way to put that, right?
Yeah, you don't even have to like defend it or like just remove the obstacles so that people can encounter the real thing.
Right.
And when they do, it has a really dramatic effect on people. So we make the videos on introducing people to all the books of the Bible and the major themes that run through the whole storyline that unite the whole thing together. We make videos on how to read the Bible and so on. But anyway, there you go. So It's just kind of an idea. And we've been able to grow the video library to over 100 videos now, and you can technically binge watch. The Bible Project
I know,
videos
I
now.
was on your
It's kind of
website.
weird when we got to that point. I was like, oh, you could spend a whole day.
Yeah, well, if you go to their website, you can look at the Old Testament Bible and you can click on play all. And I'm like, play all? And like the Old Testament, New Testament back to back, 66 books. They're what, 15 minutes a piece? Yeah, you could spend your whole day.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's been a blast. So much fun being a part of this project.
Well, and I think that's one of the things I like the best about your videos is they're fun and they're informative and they're not boring. People sometimes you'll say, oh, I don't like the Bible, it's boring. And I always want to say, have you actually read it? Because boring is not what the Bible is.
That's right.
You know, I've heard boring sermons about the Bible, or I've seen things taken out of context that, they're really boring.
That's
but
right.
The story.
Yeah, somehow it's not difficult to make the Bible boring.
Right.
But that's not the Bible's problem.
Right, exactly. No, and I think we get in trouble with the Bible when we do start trying to explain it or trying to fit it into our own thing. Oh, God is this, and I'm going to ignore these parts of the Bible. And it's like, no, you got to do it all, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's genius. I mean, it's pure genius, the way that this narrative communicates, the way the poetry invites you into new ways of thinking about yourself and the world and the human condition. So there you go. For me, the Bible has become such a treasure, and it's like maybe you have a really close friend, but it's quirky.
Yeah.
And everybody misunderstands your friend.
Yeah. No, see, that's me.
And your
From
mission,
Quirky Faith.
there you go.
That's me right
and your mission in life is to help people get over the quirkiness and help them discover how amazing it is to really get to know your friend. And that's a shorthand way of describing what we're doing.
I love it.
Project,
All right, well, so my next thing that I want to talk about, caveats right there, and that is that context is everything. So what would you say to somebody who is getting their primary Bible from verse of the day, which, okay, fine, that's fine. But even more concerning is when I see like the Pinterest or the Instagram verse of the day where you're getting like 3 words from a verse. You're not even getting a full verse.
Yeah.
So tell us where the danger is there or the benefit and how the context really matters.
Well, in a nutshell, what I have found is people who didn't grow up around the church or didn't grow up around the Bible, and I've just discovered this from years of pastoral ministry, new followers of Jesus, when they observe the habits that lifelong churchgoers have formed with the Bible, it's very odd. If you think about it.
Yeah.
So if I were to write an essay to you, like just put it on a blog or something like that, I would be very disappointed if 5 years from now no one ever actually reads the blog. But what they've done is excerpted paragraphs or sentences or half sentences.
Right.
And have turned those into independent little things that now have a life of their own, have nothing to do with the essay. People don't read the essay anymore.
Right.
And that's essentially what that approach to the Bible does. Now here's the thing, is that any great work of literature, which the Bible is, I think it's more than that, but it is that.
Right.
Well, any great work of literary art will have amazing moments where the language just puts it in a way that, you know? And so the Bible has, that's right, the Bible has many of those moments, many quotable moments. I get that. But the danger is to let those quotable moments become detached from the narratives that give those words meaning. And I remember I became a Christian in my early 20s, and I remember the same bewilderment of like, what? Why don't people actually read the whole letter of 1 Corinthians? Why do people just
the love?
Yes. Yeah, it's so weird. That's just
Especially
weird.
in Corinthians, the love's important, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, things get read
up
get
against
read at weddings.
painful things.
Yeah. So for me, I think that if that's your default way of engaging the Bible, I think it's just worth asking, am I engaging these texts in a way that dishonors the intention and purpose of their authors? And I'm actually it's not going to be a successful act of communication from these authors' point of view if the only engagement I ever have is with bits and pieces out of context. Because clearly the Bible wasn't designed as independent little verses. So, but then second, it requires stepping into the shoes of another culture, learning how to read ancient Hebrew narratives and ancient Hebrew poetry. It's translated, which is great. That's a great first step. But even so, reading another culture's literature takes some time to get used to. And so it takes work. It's not easy for modern Westerners to really inhabit the storyline of the Bible natively. But it's like learning another language, another literary language. But when people do the work, the thing has its own energy. It just works on people. But it takes work. And so that's just what I encourage people. Most people would recognize like a beautiful poem isn't meant to be dissected and with pieces taken apart. And so why do we do that to 1/3 of the Bible, which is exquisite poetry, So anyway, there you go. I could ramble.
All right, I like it. Nope, that's good.
Yeah.
So my next question goes right in there is, what is the relevance to the Bible? I have friends who say, okay, yeah, the Bible's good for you, whatever, I don't care, it has no relevance to my life.
Yeah.
And so why? Why should we bother at all? You said it changes lives.
Yeah, but it does more. So the Bible, it's a small library, but it's a unique kind of library. It's not like walking into the public library. Every book has been selected and designed to be a part of this collection. And it's a cohesive, coherent collection that's really developing one core set of themes and the storyline as it goes along. And it's a foundation text. So most cultures have these, where they're texts that are the traditional world culture creating texts, that they define the nature of reality as we see it. And any overall storyline or text like that addresses fundamental human issues.
Yeah, it's like not reading the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, that's right. So
you're missing things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, where are we? Who are we?
Right.
What's the problem? Like, what are the fundamental problems of what it means to be human? Are there any solutions? If there is a solution, what is it? Or what are the solutions? Where am I at in the problem to solution part? Every culture and every human lives off of some answers to those questions, whether or not they think about them explicitly. And so that's what the Bible is. It's a world, it's trying to invite us into a way of seeing the world, saying that we're here for a purpose, that there's a beautiful mind behind all of this, that it's very difficult for us to comprehend what that being is up to a lot of the time. But
our perspective's off. You gotta back up.
Yeah. But at the same time, and its fundamental view of humans is that we are glorious, nearly gods in our capacity and dignity, but that we're also extremely self-deceived and stupid. And short-sighted. Yeah. And so the main plot tension of the story of the Bible is God has given us this incredible piece of real estate, and what have we done with it? Some amazing things and some really horrible things, and that's a problem. And the storyline of the Bible's fundamental answer is that Jesus of Nazareth and his life, his death, his resurrection is God's response to the human condition. And it opens up a new hope for our world and for the universe and humanity. And so I get it. I mean, if people hear that story and aren't compelled or don't want to be a part of it, that's okay. But at least, like, if you're going to reject Christianity, reject the real thing. Like, don't reject a distortion of it. And what I have found is because the Bible is hard, it takes work to really understand.
Mm-hmm.
Most Christians don't do the work of understanding it. And so the version of Christianity that many, I have found this in pastoral ministries, at least in a pretty secular city over the years,
Yep.
is that the Christianity most people have rejected, it isn't actual, like, classical,
It's not, but no.
Orthodox, it's not the actual storyline of the Bible. It's a distortion of it that I think is worth rejecting too. And so that, pastorally, that's a bit of the heartbeat behind the project, is to help people know what is
What is
the
real?
Bible actually.
Yeah, what's it really saying?
Yeah, what's it saying? So what is more relevant than the human condition and the problems that we all face of selfishness and corruption on personal and corporate levels, and what does it take to really shape a whole culture and create new futures
Yep.
for our communities and for our lives? And that's what the Bible's about.
Okay, so let's talk about the church, because 2017 was brutal on many levels. There was persecuted church worldwide, has devastating loss last year. The church in the United States had credibility and abuse issues last year, huge heartache. And I think there was also last year just a general loss of goodwill, the ability to sit and talk to someone that's different than you, or you may not agree on everything, the ability to say, oh, I disagree with you on this one little aspect of our faith, so out of community we go. So they're not a great stellar year. So what I'm asking people this year in Quirky Faith is, why do you have hope for the church? What gives you, where do you see the church going? I tell people the church is the bride of Christ, and he doesn't believe in divorce. So we're not going anywhere, but why do you have hope?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I wouldn't say I have optimism.
Well, maybe that's why I'm here to give you some.
Yeah, but I do have hope.
Okay.
But I think Jesus-style hope is different than optimism. I don't know that he was that optimistic in the Garden of Eden.
No.
But I think he had hope. It's what drove him to do what he did. So, yeah, the storyline of the Bible doesn't give us a very optimistic view of human behavior and human beings.
Ever.
And even, the stories about Jesus gathering first generation of followers, most of them were pretty much losers in, like, when he was with them.
Unfaithful.
Yeah,
Angry.
like his fundamental betrayers were the people closest to him. And so I think that the nature, many people, if we conceive of Christianity as just another religion, then its primary thing should be humans adopting a new view of the world, bettering themselves and bettering their environment. And
they're never going to do it.
Well, yeah, and I do think, the biblical story and the way Jesus, how he taught about human nature, he just sees things differently. And while he really, it seems that he did what he did for us and on our behalf, something that we seem to be unable to do, right? To rescue ourselves and to become fundamentally others-centered and God-oriented and love-focused kinds of humans all of the time. But he was that, and he believed by his words and actions that he was doing that for us. And so I guess for me, what the church is it's a group of people who are being healed by Jesus, who come around the story of Jesus that gives them hope. So in one sense, I don't have hope in the church. I have hope in Jesus.
Yep.
But I also believe that Jesus can really do some remarkable things through people. When who he is and his complete others-centered love, when that really gets a hold of a person. And when I realize his life and death and resurrection is a gift to me, and a gift to this whole world, and a gift to the people that I disagree with, and a gift to the people I straight up don't like, and a gift to the people that I do like. Like, when that gets really into your bones, like it changes people. And on my good days, when Jesus is really influencing me and I'm open to being influenced by him, I think good things come out of my life. And when you get a whole bunch of Jesus followers together and they're really submitting to the influence of Jesus, beautiful things happen in the world. And so that's been happening for 2,000 years, and I think that'll continue to happen.
And
But given the course of church history,
we'll have bad chapters.
that's just the nature of how God is working with humans. It's a long game, apparently.
Well, and the stripping away of what's fake is not a bad thing.
Yes.
It's a painful
that's
thing.
right. Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
it'd be a horribly painful thing
Yep.
to go through and to have leaders, have their masks come off or have hypocrisy shown or whatever. That's painful, but it's really good
Sure.
because you have to get back to what's true, and what's true
That's
is
right.
Jesus.
Yep, that's right. In any culture that Christianity has gone, it both creates new forms of culture, but then we always inevitably adapt Jesus to our culture too.
Right.
And so what happens over time in the life cycles of the church is that there are these moments of exposure that we've over-adapted Jesus to us.
Yeah.
And then Jesus just becomes like one of us, and he sounds like me. He never challenges me, right? I mean,
It just makes you feel good. That's not
yeah,
Jesus.
he's God and country, and me and my group, and
on both sides of the
that's
spectrum.
on every side of the
Every
spectrum
side.
you can imagine.
Yep.
And so for 2,000 years this happens,
Yeah.
and then there are movements where Jesus shakes people up, and God. I mean, think of the things God used to shatter ancient Israel. Like full-on national collapse, economic, military collapse.
A couple times.
A couple times.
Yeah, Syrian captivity,
That's
Babylonian
right. Yeah,
captivity.
and it was a part of God's...
Captivity in Egypt.
That's right. And what was their deal? Well, God's with us.
Yeah.
Look, we've got a special building
Right.
for him. And
Special box.
and they reached a point where it was such a hollow fake that he just let the whole thing collapse. And that was his mysterious will and grace.
Yeah.
To let-
Well, because the truth is that he let it collapse, but not really.
But that's right.
This stuff collapsed.
Yeah,
but
it gave
the
birth
foundation-
to the faithful remnant.
Right, and he will not give up on his people
Yeah,
or his
that's
bride
right.
or.
That's right. So I guess the shorthand would be I have hope because I trust the character of the God revealed in the story of the Bible that leads to Jesus. And people, we're pretty predictable.
Well,
And so there you go. Those are my rambling thoughts.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Okay, so
a good question.
one more rambling for you, and then I want to know how we can help. But your one more rambling is, how do you, and you do, before I say how do you do this really well at the Bible Project, and this is one of the reasons why I'm such a fan, is how do you balance the judgment, justice of God with the grace and mercy of God? Because what I see in our society a lot of times is that people will focus on the judgment and justice, which is true, and then you end up with this weighty legalism, just like the ruling class when Jesus was around. It's not, doesn't seem anybody, but it's weighty and painful, but it's still true. And then you see the grace and mercy over here, and sometimes people only focus on grace and mercy, and then you have cheap grace that does nothing and means nothing. So what I love about what you guys do, and what I want to know is how. How do you balance this too?
Yeah, well, for me, the way I do that personally, I have my own inclinations of the ways I want to adapt Jesus to me and my way of seeing the world. And I don't claim to always get that balance right, personally. I've had a lifetime of moments now of thing where I have to course correct, And I realize I've invited Jesus into my story as opposed to the opposite. So to me, that's the gift of the scriptures, is that as I just continually force myself to read and reread the whole thing, it just has a way of doing that for me. And there's something about the nature of how Jesus became the king of the world by execution on a cross. Like that, there's a reason why that symbol is like an epitome of what the Christian story is, because It's viewed as a moment of utter self-giving love to die in the place of others. At the same time, the cross is an indictment of the violent, selfish ways that humans exist in the world. And so both of those are equally serious.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the nature of human selfishness that leads to broken relationships, whether it's just at school or in your roommates, or whether it's on a corporate level, leading to violence. And like human history is horrible. I mean, you and I were born in the bloodiest century in human history.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
And so like that, you can't just, God would not be good if you just ignored that. It's like, oh well, the humans do what they do. So like the cross.
Well, even with all these recent Me Too, all these women and men, you can't say to them, oh, you should forgive, that was nothing.
That's
you were
exactly
abused,
right.
who
That's
cares?
exactly right.
And it's like, no, that would be all grace.
That's
you
right.
To say it doesn't matter. There's
So
gotta be
that's right.
justice.
So
It's both.
the cross has a way of holding that paradox together, that it's at the same time an indictment, an accusation, an act of justice against human evil and corruption. And it's at the same moment an expression of overwhelming, liberal, reckless grace.
Crazy grace.
Because it's the Creator shouldering His own judgment on our evil and taking responsibility for our evil. And so, to me, it's the whole story of the Bible does it, but the meaning of the cross, for me, sums up that balance. And I just constantly have to come back around it time and again. It's such a mysterious, haunting, but beautiful image that's at the center of the whole story.
Yeah, these aren't my words. I don't remember who they are, but I'm not plagiarizing because I just can't remember. But it's scandalous.
Yes.
The cross is, it's scandalous. It's scandal that holy God took our place. And something in us should say, no, that's horrible, I don't want it. And at the same time, I say, oh, please give it to me because I'm stuck without. I can't without.
That's right. Yeah, as Timothy Keller, a pastor in New York City, he has a great way of putting it. The cross, at the same moment, says the worst possible thing about me and the best possible thing about me at the same time. That my corrupt ways of existing in the world are worthy of being named and condemned. And the cross does that. And it also at the same moment says I'm the object of overwhelming love and grace, that I don't have to end that way. Like the story doesn't have to end that way. It says the worst and the best thing about me. Isn't that a good way of putting it?
Yes, totally.
Yeah, thank you, Timothy Keller.
Yeah.
So for me, that's how I try to keep myself centered. I probably don't always, but I try.
That's good, me too, don't we all? All right, well, Tim, tell us now. That's all my questions I had. So what I want to know now is the Bible Project. Read Scripture is my favorites, but you have others. You've got your word series. They have a coffee table book now. I'm going to put links up at the end for anyone who wants to purchase. But how can we help? What can people do to help?
The biggest thing, one of our core values as an organization is just generosity. So really the main thing is enjoy the videos and watch them. And if you find them helpful, watch more.
Sure.
They're a gift that we want to give to the world, and an army of people is behind us now to help us make the gift and give the videos. So just enjoy them, and we hope you find them helpful. If you want to begin contributing to more future videos, just go to the website at thebibleproject.com, and you'll learn all about what we're doing, how we do it, how you can get behind us and support. So just there you go. You can give a gift, financial gift. You can become a monthly supporter. But more than that, just go explore the website and enjoy the videos, and we'll let you take it from there. Yeah.
I so appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Seriously, these people are fantastic. You have to watch a video and then get on board. Donate. They're doing good work. Thank you much.
Yeah. Thank you.